And here we are in Tunisia today. It's a hilula of a very great rabbi from Tunisia. He was actually born in the year 1743 and passed away around the year 1837. He lived around 93 years of age. The great rabbi's name was Rabbi Yitzchak Tayeb, Zecher Tzadik Libracha. Born in Tunisia, he was part of the great rabbanim. He was an expert in Gemara and also very proficient in Kabbalah, also one of the great rabbis of Tunisia from the 17 and 1800s respectively. In fact, his cousin, just to point out as a side note, who also became a great rabbi and was author of halachic books with regards to Aruch HaShulchan. Also, young age, he was really admired and gathered many students behind him. He lived a simple life, wasn't a rich family he came from, and many people recognized his greatness. And very, very much, especially after he passed away, he became even more well-known because of all the great works that he had done. But even while he was alive, he was a really, really famous rabbi. It's been attested to him that he was able to bring down rain when they didn't need. Miracles was performed. And when people came to him for Yeshuot, for Brachot, many people saw a lot of great salvation and miracles that happened. We're going to learn about that. He wrote different colossal works, which we'll touch on soon. Also, one of the books that he had actually authored was a great colossal work of the name Chalav Chitim also. But many of his manuscripts, many of his books, unfortunately, they did get lost at one stage in time. Also, he was one of the famous Talmidei Chachamim. Many of his descendants actually became great rabbis also, and still reported over until recently that he also has descendants also living in Tunisia currently, respectively. Also, as we said before, many of his works unfortunately did get lost. I think after he passed away, the book called the Chalav Chitim, which we just mentioned about before, did come out, which was a really, really great sefer also, and there was different great books also, which I think they were copied through the hands of Rabbi Yosef Gaz also, and Rabbi Moshe Shatrog also did help bringing Biorim, and he wrote different books with regards to different Mesechtot inside the Gemara. We learned that we just mentioned just before he was an expert in Gemara, including Mesechet Yomah, Ta'anit, Beitzah, and I think this was done also through Rabbi Raphael Sadin also, if I am not mistaken. These were really, really great rabbis over here, and many of his works were eventually published at the end. The Tunisian community actually in Israel honored his memory by establishing many synagogues under his name of the great Rabbi Chai Tayeb. For example, in Ashdod, there's a synagogue over there, in an area called Bar Lama, in Dimona, in Kiryat Ono, Ashkelon, in Jaffa, in Ofakim, in Tirat Carmel, in Hod HaSharon, in Netivot, also in Jerusalem, Rishon LeZion, Petach Tikva, Tzfat, Bnei Brak, Beersheba, and Lod. And very, very interesting. There's a bit of a discussion within regards to when he passed away. According to some opinions, if I'm not mistaken, it was on the 19th of Kislev, but many people believe, because it was on his tombstone, on his kever actually written, that was 16th of Iyar, which is we are in this week also. There's streets named after him in Ramat Gan, also Bnei Brak, in Or Akiva, also in Hadera, Netivot, and also most notably in the Harnof neighborhood in Jerusalem. I lived in Harnof at one stage in time. I remember walking many times in the road which is named after him. In Netanya itself, another city in Israel, there is a street and yeshiva named after him. A poem was also written in the Tunisian language in his honor also, which is very, very interesting. So as I said before, there was a disagreement to the date of his passing among the Jews of Tunisian origin. Many would have said it was the 19th of Kislev, but from an article published by Raphael Arditi, who was a researcher of Tunisian Judaism, it appears that according to the inscription on his kever, on his tombstone in the old cemetery of Tunis, the date of his passing was on the 16th of Iyar, which is naturally this week at the time of recording. So some people would celebrate it on the date in Kislev, some people will celebrate it on this specific date itself, but this is something very, very interesting, and I recommend everyone to look. Now, interesting story about Rabbi Chai Tayeb also. Great rabbi over here. What we said before, on the kever itself of his, on the tombstone, it says Lot Met. He had that nickname over there, that he didn't die. They wrote that actually it was inscribed on his tomb over there. But we learned a story of the power of charity over here. I'll quote this from a website called thedailyzohar.com, this article over here. Okay, the power of charity. I'll quote this over here. There lived in Tunis a worthy Jew named Matzliach. Matzliach was a very popular name in Tunis, including we learned about Rabbi Matzliach Mazuz in one of the Hilula videos that we spoke about. So Matzliach was a popular name in Tunisia. Okay, he was a great lover of Torah, though not an outstanding Torah scholar. He was not very rich, but he was generous in his charity contributions, and he had Yirat Shamayim. There was Yirat Shamayim. He was God-fearing man also. Matzliach, the antique dealer he was, as he was known, for he was a dealer in the old wares and antiques. Over there, he was well respected in the community. He was particularly praised for his special custom in connection with Shavuot, the festival of Matan Torah, naturally, which we're coming in only in a few weeks' time. Every year he would invite 10 Torah scholars, Talmidei Chachamim, to his home on the first night of Shavuot, for whom he prepared a fine feast. After the feast, they would all recite Tikkun and study Torah all night. Many of the Sfardim have a Tikkun El Shavuot, which they recite, in honor of the great festival of receiving the Torah. Well, Matzliach and Rabbi Matzliach and his guests certainly observed this custom in a fine way, and it impressed and inspired the whole community. There was not a Jewish person in Tunisia who did not stay up that night. Old and young gathered in the synagogues to recite the Tikkun and learn Torah all night, and special refreshments were served to help keep them awake. There came a time, however, when Shavuot approached and Matzliach found himself in a difficult situation. Business had not been good, and Matzliach simply had no money, not only for his usual feast, but not even for the needs of his family in the way of food and wine for Yom Tov over there. That's how drastic the situation became. Sadly, he told his wife, Mazal, about his predicament, and she was greatly distressed. She got agitated. It is not so much our own need that distresses me, the great woman explained, his Ishet Chayil explained, but the fact that you cannot keep your fine custom, naturally, of having the Torah scholars there. It is sad to think about it, but what can we do? Well, I still have my precious earrings, Mazal said, taking them off from her ears. Here, take them to the pawnbroker and get a loan till things improve. This is what she suggested. You should be able to get enough money for the Yom Tov, the Chag, naturally, and for your usual feast. So he took the earnings to the earrings to the pawnbroker and obtained a tidy sum of money against them. Let's continue the story over here. As he was walking home cheerfully, Matzliach met the venerable Rabbi Tayeb over here, the chief rabbi of Tunisia. Matzliach greeted the rabbi respectively, and the rabbi returned his greeting, obviously pleased to have met him in the street. And he said, "You saved me a trip," the rabbi said. "I'm going around collecting for our poor, so they too can celebrate the festival of Matan Torah with joy, with sameach." Without hesitation, Matzliach put his hand in his pocket and gave the rabbi the money he had just received from the pawnbroker. The smile with which Matzliach gave the money pleased the rabbi no less than the donation itself. "God bless you," the saintly rabbi said as they parted. Slowly, Matzliach continued his way homeward. "What am I going to tell my wife?" he wondered. Suddenly, he heard his name called, "Ya Matzliach, you just the man I want." The caller was one of the royal servants of the Bey of Tunis. "His Majesty sent me out to buy a set of antique coffee cups. I have no idea where to get them, but you are an antique dealer. Get them for me and you'll be amply rewarded," the courtier said. "I'll try my best," Matzliach promised. If there were such cups, Matzliach knew where to find them, and find them he did. The dealer Matzliach was pleased to get rid of them. He had them for a long time and despaired of ever selling them. Now he was pleased to sell them to Matzliach on credit, for he knew the Jewish antique dealer as a trustworthy man, so he knew he was going to get his money. Walking through the marketplace, Matzliach met the courtier again, for he was shopping for other things. "Did you manage to find the right cups for me?" the courtier asked eagerly. Thanks to the one above, I did. The courtier took Matzliach with the cups to the royal court and introduced him to the Bey. The king was very pleased with the cups. Just what I wanted, he said. I know that the Jewish people are now busy with preparations for the festival, naturally Matan Torah of Shavuot. I am pleased that you took time out to find me these lovely cups. By the way, how are you doing with your preparations for the festival? The truth to tell, Your Majesty, I have not yet bought a thing for this specific Yom Tov of Shavuot. The king immediately ordered one of his servants to send to Matzliach's house 2 sacks of fine flour, a jug of olive oil, and 2 choice live lambs. Then he asked Matzliach what he owed him for the cups. Matzliach told the king what he paid for them and his usual commission. What? That's all you paid for these precious cups? The king said, much surprised. Well, the ruler of Tunisia is not looking for bargains. You shall be paid their full value. Matzliach left the king's place with a very large sum of money. Walking briskly home. Whom should he meet if not the chief rabbi again? I can now afford to double my donation. Matzliach said sadly, wow, how great Matzliach was, as he handed the Rabbi an amount equal to his first generous donation. Rabbi, your blessing was fulfilled, Matzliach said, and told him how God was kind to him. Thank God we both did very well today, the Rabbi said. Have a happy Yom Tov, Chag Sameach. May the merit of the tzaddik, Rabbi Tayeb, protects all of us. Amen. It's his Hilula, according to some opinions here, on 16th of Iyar. Don't forget to light candles in his memory. Friends, over here, I'm doing a whole series of the great Sephardi, Mizrahi, Rabbanim of yesteryear from all different countries over here. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button, to hit the like button, also share the videos. We're learning about the real Sephardi history over here. The heritage which every single human being should know about, the great Rabbanim over here. And it's very, very interesting. Am Yisrael Chai. We had great Rabbanim all throughout, through Tunisia, through Libya, through Egypt, through Iran, through Iraq, so many of the great places, through Libya. How great our heritage actually is over here. We are the Mizrahi Jews over here. We continue this series. I am here with full of pride. I am here to learn about the great Sephardi Rabbanim here. I'm learning it as we go along over here. I think that it's important, not just all the Jewish people across the world learn about all these great Rabbanim and the yeshiva students, but all of humanity across the world learn about the great Sephardi Rabbanim, the world of yesteryear. So guys, I'm wishing you all a great day. Take care and enjoy.